Okay, so in this update, two other towers other than the medic and the turret have been updated. One of them being the assassin tower, and surprisingly the other one being the archer tower, although to be fair, those were the towers that were reworked-ish in the last update, or added in the last update in terms of the assassin tower. Now, in the case of the archer, there is actually only one change at this level, and it is at level 4, where the price of the archer has increased from, the upgrade cost has increased from 2,375 to 2,750. I don't know why the developers have decided to add about a $375 increase to the archer at this level, given the fact that the archer already has a placement limit of 15, so what, an increase of about $3,500 for every single archer just to max it out. I don't know why that's the case. This does mean that the level 4 archer, its total upgrade cost has increased to 4,850, and for the level 5 archer, it's increased to 12,225. If you compare that to previously, it was 4,475 and 11,850 for level 5. So really, it makes no sense why the developers only made one change to the archer, and it was this change. Now, this does mean the cost efficiencies for level 4 and level 5 have changed, even though the DPS has not, because, I mean, the total price for the level 4 archer has changed. So previously, for level 4, the cost efficiency for level 4 is 240.46 and 285.96 respectively for level 4 and level 5, whereas now it's 260.61 and 295. It's like a 10 increase in cost efficiency, a higher cost efficiency being worse. So for flame arrows, it barely makes a difference, I can't lie. When it comes to shock arrows, the cost efficiencies have gone from 421.77 and 465.8 respectively for level 4 and level 5. They've gone to 457.12 and 480.54. So at max level, what, you're looking at a $15 cost efficiency increase. It's not that big of a deal, I can't lie, so yeah, fair enough. And then when you look at the explosive arrows for level 5, you're looking at a cost efficiency, bearing in mind this is assuming that the arrow only hits one enemy, whereas most of the time it will hit multiple enemies. Here, previously, the cost efficiency was 186.32, and the new cost efficiency is 192.22, so it's not really too bad, really, where even if the cost efficiency has increased, so it's a slightly worse arrow. So yeah, it's a very minimal change to the archer, and it felt a little bit unnecessary in the context of, well, you have recently reworked the archer, why wasn't it here previously? I guess they decided that this archer at level 4 and level 5 was a little bit too powerful, but they didn't want to change it in the statistics and just change the upgrade cost for one of the levels, which, fair enough, I guess. A tester probably, I speculate a tester probably left it in by accident, and the developers were like, right, yeah, we'll just use that and put in the update log. However, there is actually a sort of issue when it comes to the archer that was apparently made in this update. So apparently in Retro Crossroads, the archer's explosive arrows deals damage inconsistently. Most of the time it will deal no damage, and when it does, it will sometimes deal damage in the wrong spots. While I have no idea if it's an issue with the map or an issue with the archer, I speculate it's an issue with a map, perhaps with like the placement of the map and everything. I speculate that the developers, even developers, didn't really know about it, and the only reason why it probably happens in Retro Crossroads is because it's probably a map issue rather than an archer issue. But do be aware that using the archer in Retro Crossroads is a little bit buggy, and you probably shouldn't be using it. Meanwhile, for the Assassin Tower, there's far more substantiated changes to this tower compared to what it was previously. So, at level 0, the cost has decreased from 300 to 200, which I believe makes it one of, if not the cheapest towers that you can place down. The only other tower that I can really think of that's probably compared to this is the Scout, which, if I'm not mistaken, also costs $200 to place down. So the Assassin Tower, at least on paper, has become slightly more better as a early game tower. But to compensate for this, in fact, it's not really even compensation for this. They've made the Assassin Tower better at level 0 as well by decreasing the fire rate from 0.75 to 0.6, thereby meaning it swings its knife faster, thereby meaning that its DPS has increased. But also, the range has increased from 5.5 to 6. So like previously, you were looking at about 2.64 DPS for a cost efficiency of 113.64, which not too bad. But where you look at it now, it's a DPS of 3.29 for a cost efficiency of 60. That, if I'm not mistaken, is like one of the best, if not the best cost efficiency that you can get in Tower Defense Simulator. Because, like, if you look at the Scout's Golden Scout, really, the cost efficiency for the Golden Scout is 100.8. And the Golden Scout is regarded by most people as, like, one of the best starter towers based on. I mean, like, yeah, obviously in recent times, it may have been, its usage may have diminished due to other towers taking its place later on, such as the Golden Soldier, even though its cost efficiency is slightly higher. But that being said, nothing really compares to the cost efficiency of the Assassin early on. The only other tower that I can really think of is the Brawler Tower, which also has a cost efficiency of 60.8. But do bear in mind that the Brawler Tower is a hardcore base tower, whereas the Assassin Tower is an intermediate base tower. So by default, the Assassin Tower sort of has taken the place of the Brawler and taken the place of a more mainstream Brawler, because the Brawler is a hardcore base tower and you need hardcore gems to actually unlock it. And the Assassin Tower is what, 800 coins or something? Like, it's quite cheap for a tower. That's quite good early on. But additionally, it probably takes the place of the Warden later on, which we'll get to later, because the Warden, I don't think it's as good as the Assassin Tower is. So when it comes to level 1, its upgrade cost has increased from 150 to 250, which is fair enough. You're looking at a wipeout of the cost savings that you get at level 0. Do bear in mind that at level 0, you can place down, most of the time, 3 Assassins at the start, whereas previously you could only place down 2. So you got 100 cost increase, and then you got the fire rates changing from 0.75 to 0.5, interesting, and the range has actually slightly decreased from 6.5 to just 6, because the upgrade of the range at this level has been wiped out, which is fair enough. 0.5 range increase, I mean, 0.5 range decrease, sorry, is not that... It sounds not bad, but really, when it comes to melee towers, it can be quite bad. You're looking at, what, a 14% decrease overall, or even like a 17.5% decrease overall, but yeah, it's fair enough. But the cost efficiency, sorry, the DPS of the Assassin has gone from 3.96 to 5.91, thereby meaning that the cost efficiency for the Assassin Tower has gone from 113.64 to 76.2, so not as good as the Brawler Tower, but it's still mighty good, comparatively speaking. Meanwhile, at level 2, bear in mind that this is the hidden detection level, the cost has increased from 600 to 950, meaning that the total price for the Assassin Tower has gone from 1,050 to 1,400. Okay, fair enough. The damage has actually increased from 8 to 10. The fire rate has decreased from 0.6 to 0.5, and the damage from the Whirlwind Slash has increased from 8 to 10. One other point to note is that the Brawler does have a placement limit. The Assassin Tower does not. Therefore, this means that the DPS for the Brawler has increased from 13.16 to 19.69, meaning that the cost efficiency has gone from 79.79, which was actually the lowest for the Assassin previously, to a not so much 71.12. So it's a minor decrease in cost efficiency, which is better, and certainly not as good as level 0, which was 60.8, but it's still very respectable for a tower that is meant to be used early on. And this is also bearing in mind that it doesn't count the whirlwind damage. It counts the whirlwind damage as only hitting one enemy, whereas most of the times it could hit multiple enemies. So the DPS for the Assassin Tower is actually, in practice, slightly higher than what is listed in the update log. Meanwhile, as for level 3, the upgrade cost for the Assassin Tower has increased from 1,500 to 2,350. Meaning that the total cost for the Assassin Tower has increased from 2,550 to 3,750. So actually quite a substantial increase in the upgrade cost, total upgrade cost to get to this level. For this, the damage for the Assassin has increased from 18 to 25. The fire rate has still decreased from 0.6 to 0.5 at this level. The range has still decreased from 6.5 to just 6, and the only other change is that the Whirlwind Slash damage has increased from 18 to what it was previously to 25, the same as the damage for this tower, normal damage. This therefore means that the DPS for the Assassin Tower has increased from 29.64 to 49.21, meaning that the cost efficiency has decreased slightly from 86.12 to 76.2. Meanwhile, at level 4, the upgrade cost is actually substantially increased at this level. It's gone from 4,250 to 7,250. Okay, so you're getting quite expensive for the Assassin Tower. So it's not just a straight early game tower was previously, because I mean the upgrade cost has increased, total upgrade cost to level 4 from 6,800 to 11,000. So yeah, you're looking at towers that can be more substantiated, such as like the minigunner, for example. However, what you're looking at is a damage increase from 30 to 50, so a 20 damage increase at this level. The range has remained the same at 7, and the fire rate has also slightly decreased from 0.5 to 0.4. Additionally, the fan of knives, so the knife throwing ability that can occur when it comes to the Assassin Tower, its damage has increased from 25 to 100, but additionally, the damage threshold has increased from 150 to 400. So the fan of knives is most likely, it's going to get less common to what was previously, but previously the fan of knives thing that the Assassin Tower has, and in fact I may think it still might have this issue. I don't think it actually has this issue, but previously it didn't accurately track the damage for the damage threshold, whereas now I think it's actually slightly more accurate. Is it, or is it not? I think it is, because it shows 199 out of 400, whereas here it's a different ending. 4, 6, is it? No, it's not actually. They haven't fixed it. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. But anyways, this means that the DPS for the Assassin Tower, interestingly, has increased from 74.01, which was kind of respectable, to 185.97. The Assassin Tower has a DPS of 185. 180, not even like 100 something, it's 185. That's one of the highest DPS towers in tower defense. How much DPS does the minigunner have? Bro, the DPS of the minigun is only 157. The DPS of the Assassin Tower is 185. I mean, to be fair, the range of the Assassin Tower is quite small. It is only 7, whereas for the minigunner, it is quite substantiated. It's 20. So yeah, you are looking at over double the range. But still, the Assassin Tower having a DPS of 185 at max level, I'm surprised. And you know what? The Assassin Tower probably makes it at one of the best early game and maybe one of the best mid game towers to use in Tower Defense Simulator. We are looking at Gladiator levels of when it was after the overhaul update, like usage, because the Assassin Tower is genuinely now quite good. Like previously, the Assassin Tower was like a tower to use, especially early on. It was fine to use, but it wasn't anything good. Now it genuinely is very good, and I can easily see why many people would use the Assassin Tower over the Warden Tower, because the Warden Tower, the only thing that it has over the Assassin Tower is that it has an ability to block any stuns within like 6 seconds, which, okay, fair enough, that might be better to use against final bosses and bosses that can stun. But the Assassin Tower, most of the time, is going to be better than the Warden. So I would have to expect the Warden, sometime down the line, it's going to have to get a rework or a rebalance, because, like, it's not as good as the Assassin Tower is right now. So, like, either the Assassin Tower is going to be nerfed, which hopefully it doesn't. Maybe level 5 might be nerfed, but otherwise, it's going to be the Warden that changes, because it's just not as good as the Assassin Tower is.